with the latest announcements, it's been
hard.
it's heartbroken, right? My role as the Advocacy and Communications, as you can see, not only advocacy but also communications. When you communicate with people, it's always two ways. And the way they spoke, they were very passionate with hands, right? It's me. And sometimes you speak a little bit loud, but it's not that you're yelling with the person, it's just as passionate about the way you speak and you communicate with people. And some people can interpret this in a different way.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Far From Home Talks podcast. Today I have a positive and bright guest with me, and she is the Advocacy and Communications Coordinator of Fanshawe Student Union or FSU for 23-24, and she is ending her tenure. So let's just welcome Sarah to the podcast. Yay!
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
So, how are you, Sarah?
I'm good. It's Monday, so new week. We try to be positive on a Monday. Lots of coffee, but I'm glad. It's finals week, so I'm finishing my work at Fanshawe College. I'm very, very happy actually because this is my last week of finals, and then I'm done and ready to graduate.
I hope I'm not disturbing you during your finals.
No. I only have I have one remaining one. It's only on Wednesday, so I'm fine.
Okay, so let's just begin for questions relating to my podcast, and let viewers know where are you from and when you arrived here and why you arrived here.
Okay, so I'm from Brazil. I arrived in Canada in August 2022. And I came here because it's a lot of things to answer to that. I always wanted to live abroad. I always wanted to have an experience living from my comfort zone in Brazil. During the pandemic, me and my partner, we faced some issues with our jobs at the time. We suffered more harassment. We saw ourselves young. We had but we loved our jobs there. We love what we do. We had a very good life in Brazil, but we were seeing ourselves young and then getting weight, having anxiety, not enjoying the life as much as we could because we're stressing ourselves. And I think when the pandemic came, it triggered both of us to try to find a better life, and that provided us a work-life balance. Especially because in a few years we want to have a family, right? Have kids. So we didn't want to be the way that we were at that time. So two main reasons, right? Work-life balance, and then the second one would be having an experience abroad, especially because we thought, well, we don't have kids right now. We don't, our parents, they are healthy. So if you want to go abroad, it needs to be now because we can be outside of our country for a while, and then we can set ourselves there for some years, and then maybe in 10 years come back and stay with our family and our parents if they need us. So that's why we moved to Canada. When I was in my 20s, I lived in Vancouver for three months, and I loved Canada. I loved how people were welcoming and way much welcoming than Americans from the United States. That's why we never chose United States to go abroad. Our main purpose actually was to go to Europe, but it was very, very expensive. So when we thought about it, why not Canada? And then we started to look forward, okay, it's going to be Canada. They're way much better than other country. That's why we came.
Are those the only motivating factors, like work-life balance and maybe living on your own? Were those only motivating factors to move into this country?
I think a third motivator would be security. Brazil, I love my country. But I think the way Brazil it is right now, it is not so safe like the way it is Canada. Here we can just there are two things that were shocking to me when I moved like 10 years ago and then right now. It's we can be on the streets and safely just be with our phones on hands and just taking pictures and just be comfortable of walking on the street without having to look on our shoulders. We still have it, like once you live in Brazil, you still have it in you. So like we are on the street, but we are not 100% like not paying attention to the surrounding areas. We are always paying attention in people surrounding us, but we feel more like safer when we are on the streets. And for me as a woman, it is dangerous when we are in Brazil and we're alone, especially at night. So like I used to have to go having public transportation. I work into nights and like I study as well. And I had to be very careful, especially because I lived in São Paulo for almost 12 years before coming to Canada. And people who live there, they know how unsafe it is. People can kill you because you have a phone because they want to rob you. And if you're a woman, it can be way worse what can happen to you. And here, if I'm walking in the night, I feel safe. Of course, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm not paying attention, I'm with my music. No, I'm not like this. I cannot be because I live there. But I feel way more safe here than in Brazil. So this would be like a third motivation that we moved to Canada.
So have you faced any difficulties in obtaining student visas or student visa to come here in Canada?
I don't think we faced. So when we applied, we got accepted for like at first. But to be honest, the process
was lengthy.
It was like a hassle. The amount of documents they asked for us. The proof, everything that we have to do to be here, it's very exhausting. I think the length of time that me and my partner we took from like before of everything, I think we spent 1 year just researching all of the programs that Canada had, the provinces, the college that we want to go, and then once we finally, okay, this is the college, Fanshawe is going to be, London is the city, what are the next steps? So then, okay, so these are the options that we have so far. Then our first plan was to come here not as an international student, but for the express entry, but because of the pandemic, they closed that line and they only came back last year. So I was like, okay, we have to have a plan B. So then why not study, right? I always like to study, so that's why I am the main person is studying at Fanshawe, and I really enjoy the program here. But I think once we decided to come here as an international student and my partner with the open working permit, taking the time to just having like gathering the documents, on speaking with the immigrant agents, and weekly, I think until we submitted our process was like 3 or 4 months to gather everything, and then the waiting, because even though you do everything right, it always depends who the person that will take the agent, right? The immigration agent that will take your documents. So the anxiety waiting, like, and both of us, we were working, waiting for that, right? So we didn't quit our jobs because like we don't know if we're going to be accepted. So until we were accepted, like it was the anxiety. So the length of time and the anxiety that they relate to the process, it's huge. So this is, I think, that I can tell from my visa experience, my study visa.
Okay. So what program have you like enrolled currently? Like you are ending your graduation or you are graduating from the program soon, but what program are you currently enrolled in?
So my program right now is Business Human Resources. It's a 2-year program, a diploma, and I'm finishing. This is my last week of exams, and my graduation is in June 18th. Yes.
Nice. So like, are you liking the program? Have you did you plan to take that course from back home, or like you wanted to just arrive here and study just something?
No. It was something that I planned for a while. Even because when you're applying to be a student, one of the... So you have to explain to them, to the Canadian government, why you're coming here and why you are not studying in your home. So I tried to think into different paths. I didn't want to choose something that I could not enjoy. And also because, for example, I'm going to knock on the wood, right? Because like for some reason, nothing was like, oh, I arrived here, I hated Canada, I hated the program. Nothing was right. Like, and I want to come back to Brazil. If I came back, like how this program would help me to come back to my professional background. So I'm a lawyer in Brazil. And my specialization is regarding internal investigations. So I used to conduct, to be responsible for the whistleblowing channels within our companies in Brazil. And I did like training and culture regarding the code of conduct and integrity and our ethics matters within the organization, or policy reviews. So I wanted something that was related to that, and I could learn something. And then, okay, if I came back to my home, this is what I'm bringing to the table. And also something that I enjoy and learn, because when you are an international student, you pay a lot of money, and then just coming to Canada to just doing whatever, it doesn't make sense to me. Like it's 2 years of your life, at least my life, that will be learning something. So I wanted to be fun and something that I could apply after, right? If not, then in my opinion, it's like a waste of time and a waste of money because it's very expensive, right? When you think about it, an international student pays 5 to 6 times more than a domestic student to do a college or even a university here. So I'm enjoying a lot. So that's why I chose business human resources, because it's something that it relates with my background. I worked a lot with human resources back home. I used to, because I dealt with moral sexual harassment, conflict of interest. I worked a lot with HR to, sometimes they asked us to, for example, do some training regarding those subjects, or even support them in some internal investigations. So I thought, well, why not trying to explore HR area in a business setting, so I could see if I come back someday in Brazil, I can support the human resources or even pursue something in HR, because I always like to work with people, and my specialization is like, you are very alone because it's always you do the investigation. Then sometimes people are afraid of you or contacting you because, oh, you are the person who investigates in the workplace. Like, no, people have to trust me. Like, I'm fine, I'm nice, that's fine. And even with HR, they don't like to have any relations with HR. So that's why I went to explore more. And I enjoyed a lot my program. I also participated in the end of my, so I think 2 or 3 months ago, the program coordinators, they asked all the students to participate in a focus group survey. And I'm very happy to say that I participated, so I could tell from my student perspective why they could improve the program, because I think Fanshawe did not review my program like in 5 years because of the pandemic, so they stopped. And it's good they are trying to be better and improve and reviewing, because to be very honest, the workload was crazy. Like weekly, I had 15 to 20 assignments to submit weekly. And it's something like, I don't know how it is in the other countries, but at least in Brazil, we are used to study while we work. So when you are in your university, you usually study at like in the mornings or only at night, and then you have the whole day to work to gain professional experience. It's like an internship, but it's not an internship like here in Canada. You are paid for it, and it's like a full-time job, and usually you are hired in the middle of your program or even when you graduate. And this is what happened to me. And then in the university, you are used to having, for example, 1 or 2 individual assignments, 1 or 2 group assignments, and then you rely on 2 main tests. One, it's like the midterm here, and it's usually half or like 30% of the grade, and then there is the finals. which again is like 30 to 40% of your grade. So when I arrived here, adapting to this workload and how the school schedule it is, because it's all breakdown. You have classes in the night, you have classes in the morning, you have classes in the middle of the afternoon, and then you're trying at the same time trying to find a part-time. This was like, wow, I have to adapt first to the school schedule so I can understand how it is a workload, and then I will try to find a part-time. Then I try to find another thing. So I think these were the main challenges that I faced. But I really enjoyed my program overall. I think it was very good. Some of the things were new. Some of the things I think I learned in the past. So I just refreshed my mind on some of the content. But overall, I think I learned a lot from the program, and I'm happy with my choice.
I didn't know about this. Like in Brazil, you can there's a culture of studying and doing like a job together. Because like back home in my country, India, like there's not a culture of like doing both things together. So like we have to study first and then maybe talk about. So there's no culture of doing both things together.
It's different then. It's similar to here then. Like you have co-op here, you have some programs that you have internship, and then but I think they focus more on your student life than your professional life, right? It's more important for you to study first, and then you have your professional experience.
I mean, still here we can have maybe some kind of part-time jobs or like something to like manage your expenses. So like back home, we don't have. I think now maybe it has changed, but we didn't have the like this kind of environment there. Okay.
Very different.
So what's the more, as you're from Brazil, what's the most culture surprising or like culture difference that you have faced here in Canada?
There are two main things. The first one, we are very, this is something that I miss actually back home. We are very warm people. As you can see, I speak with my hands, I'm loud. We usually like hug people. We are very warm people, like Latinos, like Latin people, they are like this. And we have like in Canada, and not only Canada, I think like European, American people as well, they are more closed. Like, how can I say that? They are more separate. So you have to be careful sometimes the way you behave yourself to not be misinterpreted, you know? Especially because we're women. So if you are friendly, sometimes people can understand, oh, she's not being friendly, like she's into me, you know?
Misunderstanding.
Exactly. No, we're just friendly, right? This is the way we communicate ourselves. And also in the workplace. So we have to be careful for example, because we tend to touch people. So something that I try to avoid is like trying to hug people when I first meeting them, or like kissing. We always hug and kiss people in the cheek. So I feel that this can be touching their limits in their bodies, and like I try to avoid. And I also try to see how the person wants me to react, right? So I always wait. But I have this like, you want to hug, you want to kiss, but it's back home it's not wrong, but here you can be misinterpreted. So I just be careful. And the second thing is I feel that sometimes we are more direct in the way that we express ourselves. And here, and this is very nice actually. So before you tell something that it's not positive to someone, Canadians, they have the tendency to, let's focus on the positive first, and then we'll tell what you need to improve. But always when they need something that you need to improve, you are not so sure that it is a negative or not. And in Brazil, we just go straight away. We're objective, like, so this is what you need to improve, and that's why you did not get the job, and that's why you were not so great in your performance. And here's like, wow, you were doing a great job. So they always tells you positive things first, and then the improvements, but then you are not so sure that it is a negative or not. So you're like unsure. It is positive sometimes, like, because I think they're very polite, and when you think about it, like you have to be empathetic with people. So I think they're very empathetic and understanding. So I think it was a learning piece, and I went to I embraced this in my life, trying to always start with the positive and then the improvement areas.
So do you have any advice to the governments back home to support the immigrants in Brazil?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
What do you have any advice or like anything to say to the governments back home? Governments.
The government?
Yeah.
For my country?
Policymakers, yeah. To support the immigrants. I'm not talking about the basic thing. Just to support the immigrants.
But the immigrants to come into Canada or to Brazil?
Anywhere. And like not in Brazil, like from Brazil to anywhere.
Okay, from Brazil anywhere. It is difficult, right? It is.
I don't want you to.
No, I'm just trying to think about it. When I think about it, like people coming from other countries or even from Brazil to Canada, with the latest announcements, it's been
hard.
Yeah, like it's heartbroken. I think it has encouraged a lot of people coming to here, and I understand as well, like both sides, right? I understand Canada putting some rules, and I understand people wanting to come and having a better life. It is different. I don't think people fully understand how it is to be an immigrant until they are in their shoes. And even here, sometimes at Fanshawe, I hear like, well, I was in a session and I found out how many programs that we have regarding immigration. And I had no idea how international students, they face like the stress or the anxiety. So I think just having empathy and trying to understand why people are coming and how you can support them. Not only about your country culture, but how you can support them coming from their countries to here. Trying to understand the background, right? Because we have different reasons. We have people who are coming here to have an experience. We have people coming here to run from their countries. For example, the refugees, right? They don't have where to go. So, and people who want to come here to just have a better life. So you're trying to support them in any way you could and not trying to blame them. It's some things that I've been hearing from some governors here, trying to blame international students, and this is breaking my heart because I know that we worked very hard, and when you see the realities of international students, even though they prove they have a financial way to come here, once you come to Canada, it is a different reality. And we work twice harder, right? Because we want to support our families, we want to support our time. And you have other barriers that people don't understand unless they are immigrants. So just trying to be empathetic and trying to understand the reasons behind it, it would be great.
So let me just quickly ask you regarding your position of Advocacy and Communications Coordinator here in Fanshawe Student Union. Is it okay?
Yeah, of course.
So what motivated or inspired you to be the Advocacy and Communication Coordinator here in Fanshawe Student Union?
As I said before, so I always like to work with people. I always like to give it back for some reason. When I arrived here, I really enjoyed everything that Fanshawe was doing. And then I realized that people were struggling the same way I was when I began my journey here in Canada and in Fanshawe. And then I met the Fanshawe Student Union and I saw the amazing work they were doing. So I began as a volunteer with them, and that's how I get to know the amazing services they were providing to students. So my main reason was, I want to be there. I want to be there for someone the way they were for me, and I want to give it back. And it's been the most amazing experience that I've been having so far. It's something, sometimes it's very intense. You only understand once you are inside. And even though you are a volunteer, for example, or a student who don't understand until you are a part of the team from the FSU. It's been a very intense year for me. And sometimes when I felt overwhelmed and I said, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, I'm so stressed. I'm so anxious. Like, the days that I felt more overwhelmed, something happened in my day that made me realize that's why I'm here. Like, it was a bad day or like something that I didn't like happened. And then an email from a student came like, Sarah, I just want to thank you for everything that you've been doing. Like, this happened to me because of you. And if it was not for your help, I was not going together because of you. So thank you so much. Like, each time that I was bad or I felt sad, I always received like a message from students. They didn't know, right, what's happening. But like each time that I was like lowering or like decreasing my mood, something happened that is like, no, that's why we're here. So that was the reason. Like those were the reasons, right? Giving it back and trying to help people.
Honestly, like I also feel the same. Like my almost 1 year of being a class rep here in Fanshawe Student Union, and you are the main, like the leader of class rep, and I've met you in a couple of times during meetings and several other times. You have a positive and positive outlook, and like you make the surrounding positive to around you. Like whenever I feel that way, when I'm around you, I feel certain positive energy.
I'm going to cry. Thank you.
I mean, honestly, I'm speaking the truth. I'm not just saying anything just randomly, but honestly, I feel so bright and positive around you.
Oh, I appreciate that, really, from my heart. I'm happy to hear that.
So, how did you effectively communicate and represent the diverse student groups here in Fanshawe College as because of your role because of your role in Advocacy and Communication Coordinator?
This is something that I always try to tell my class reps. I know that sometimes we're homesick, and not even homesick. Like, you can be an international student, you can be a domestic student coming from a different city, a different province, or even from high school, right? Where it's difficult for you to make friends in a different college environment. I always tell people it is good for you to get off your comfort zone and try to get to know different people. And I always like that. So one of the reasons that I came to Canada was to put myself in different environments and trying to get to know people, because I used to work for multinational companies and, well, you always see the same people, right? You always see the same people. In my university, when I was doing law, I always saw the same people.
Okay.
And it is good for you to put yourself in different situations and try to hear different perspectives. And that's how I did. So the class rep actually helped me a lot to try to understand some of the issues that we were having, not only at the college, but also along the community, because we had different people within the program. Like 300 to 200 students, domestics from different countries, different backgrounds, different cultures, or even different realities. And these were so enriching to me. So I always try to listen to people, right? My role as the Advocacy and Communications, as you can see, not only advocacy, but also communications. And when you communicate with people, it's always two ways, right? You have to hear people. You have to have an active listening to understand what they're coming from and where they're in distress, where they are sad, what's happening, that you can help them. So this is how, in my role, I could speak with different people, always trying to hear or not trying to put words in others' mouth and trying to understand their reality, being empathetic, right?
Yeah. Do you have any memorable or successful stories that you want to share during your term in Advocacy and Communication Coordinator?
Oh, I have tons of success histories. It's different to pick one. And
anything memorable or anything you can just, if you want to.
There is one student. I don't want to just, it's difficult for me to share because there are some histories that they are confidential, right?
Yeah.
But there is one student. So this student came to the front desk asking for help. And that specific day I was not in the office. So the student tried to call several times to the office. Each time they tried to reply to the student, it sounded that they were very upset. So it sounded that they were yelling at the staff. And then when they pass on the student to me, they say, well, this student, I think something happened because they seem very stressed and very, they sound like they're yelling. And then I spoke to the student. I think I spent 3 or 4 hours with the student over the phone. And then I asked the student to come and meet me in person. And then I realized that the student were having, they were not aggressive at all. They were not, they were just overwhelmed with everything and they were passionate. So it was an international student.
Yeah.
And the way they spoke, they were very passionate with hands, right? It's me. And sometimes you speak a little bit loud. But it's not that you're yelling with the person. It's just as passionate about the way we speak and you communicate with people. And some people can interpret this in a different way, right? You can say, well, they are yelling at me, but they are not. And then I also realized that the person had a disability about the hearing. And that's why sometimes the person yelled.
Yeah.
And I was so glad to help the student because they were doing an appeal. They were from a different campus.
Okay.
And because the way they spoke, people had afraid to interact with the student.
Yeah.
And I think I was the first one together with the ombudsman office to speak with the student, understand their reality, understand what was going on. And then I could support the student to have a different outcome for their case. And then the college understood why everything was happening and was a positive outcome. And I was so happy because it was the third level. It was the third time the student could not do anything else after that. And because they reached the FSU and me and the ombudsman office, we could help the student, right? I was their support person, right? So it was a very positive outcome. And I had different success stories to share, but of course I had to be careful on the way I speak. But I can tell that I'm very glad. Sometimes that you just filter and try to remove your first impression and try to understand people and see, wow, I can help people. If you are being empathetic and you're trying to listen them, you definitely can help them to reach a fair and a positive outcome, or even help them. Not even winning something, but trying to help them in some way.
So, what advice would you like to give to the people who want to be in a student leadership position?
One thing that I like to address always is trying to support people, but genuinely caring.
Yeah.
Right? It's something that I always try, me and Stefan, he's the FSU president right now. He's also finishing his tenure, but it's something that both of us, we always try to tell the students. Because of course, sometimes people want to be in our place, in our roles, but they don't want to be there for genuinely reasons. They just want to be there or be us to be famous, right?
Yeah.
And a true leader, they want to be there to help others, to support people, and to also help them to succeed and be leaders, right? To inspire people.
Yeah.
So before trying to be a leader, trying to find in yourself something that you genuinely care and trying to be empathetic with people, because then the other steps, they will come along the way. Right? When you genuinely care with people, you are going to impact your net. You are going to make a difference, and then you can be a leader, right? And create your own net of leaders as well, inspiring people.
So let's just go back to my like immigrants questions. Yeah. And if you could bring one aspect of a home country to this country, what could that be? Migrant people, food, culture, anything.
Oh yeah, the food. I'm suspicious. Like food for sure. Food, yeah. No, I would bring food for sure.
Yeah.
And this warm peace, you know. One of the things that I tell, like, that I miss my home, of course, the food, my loved one, but like what I see sometimes what they're doing, it's like I miss just ending my work and just going to a bar and have like a little beer, and just like with my friends and hanging out with, because it's a warm weather. The way it is, like summer during Canada is the same, so we just gather people, we bring people together. This is one thing that I really enjoy. Like one thing that I think I saw one day, a student sharing their experiences when they are in Korea, and like, well, I can leave my purse here and no one is going to rob. But at the same time, if I'm crying in the street, no one is going to help me, because no one has anything to do with my life. And sometimes people are afraid to help you in the street because you can be robbed, or like it is none of your business, right? Here there's like, it's none of my business, I'm going to do nothing. But like in Brazil, if you are in distress, or like even on the street, right? If something happened with you, like people is going to stop in the street and say, hey, are you okay? Like, why are you crying? Do you need any help? You know, that warm peace? So like I would bring the food and like this warm peace, like you care with people, like the empathetic piece. Not the Canadian, they're not empathetic. Of course they are. But like that, just trying to be more open to people that you don't know. Let's say that,
So you talked about missing, or like you want to bring the food from Brazil to this country. What type of foods are you talking about?
Oh, okay. So we have a food that's very well known called feijoada. It's black beans. Sometimes you can put pork meat within, or not. You can be vegan, right? So it's just like the vegetables, like carrot you can put there. And you eat with white rice. It is amazing. I love it. Like we do here, but it's something that I would definitely bring. And there are two other things that they are more like there's a dessert, and the other one is like a fried piece. It's like a side dish that you can ask to, like you're not so hungry that you eat those. So this one, it's called Koshy. So it's like a little ball, like fried of, it's meat, chicken meat, and then you put like a dough and you put to fry. And then you open it, so crunchy, so good, and like, oh, it's so good. Oh my god! And the other one, which is a dessert, it's called brigadeiro. So it's like a ball of a chocolate dough, and then you put chocolate sprinkle on it. And it's soft and sweet. It's just right. Like I would bring these three foods for sure, for here. Yeah.
So do you know any Brazilian restaurants that are popular here in London City?
Oh, I know.
That I can visit.
Yes, at Convert. So we have Love Pastel. It is located at the Convert Market. And I think they are from actually an alumni student. So they are amazing. If you first of all, like Convent Market, right? It is good. It is in the city. You just get to know the place, and then great Brazilian food. And if I'm not mistaken, Fanshawe students, they have discount as well.
Oh, nice.
So it's good to know.
Yes.
Yes. Please go and tell me if you like the food.
So one final question: what advice would you like to give to the future immigrants who are coming to this country, or like any country, if you want to talk about, what advice would you like to give to them?
I I think the advice that I would tell is like, just be patient and take care of yourself, right? Sometimes when you arrive here, we are so overwhelmed to this new life.
Yeah.
And one thing that I always tell students when they arrive is just take time. Wait.
Yeah.
Time heals everything. So take a time to learn the Canadian experience, to have the Canadian experience, to get to know the city, to get to know, if you are a student, to get to know the college life. And taking care of yourself, because I know it can be overwhelming. So just taking time to process everything because you are homesick, you are in a new country, and it's so different, like the rules and the way they behave, the way the city is. So just try to adapt and everything. It can be overwhelming, just taking care of yourself. And always trying to remember that even though we're homesick, and even though of course we have this background in ourselves that we're not going to change, we are in a different place. So trying to remember that to adapt to the things here, because you are in a different country, right? And trying to respect them as well as we ask for respect as being an immigrant. It is also important to respect the Canadian culture, the Canadian experience, right? Their culture. And trying to embrace this, you know, I'm here, I'm going to learn their culture, I'm going to trying to understand them, I'm going to try to mix myself, of course, never forgetting who you are, but trying to also respect because they're welcoming you, right? Not trying to disrespect the rules or the way they behave, because we are in a different country. But of course, it is a process. So taking care of yourself and taking time, be patient, right? Because it is a process. So you have to taking care of yourself and trying to understand everything, and things take time, and everything is going to be alright. Everything is going to be alright in a time. So yes.
I forgot to mention this one thing in the beginning of podcast. Like, there was a students impact gala here in Fanshawe College, conducted by Fanshawe Student Union. That actually that event is for people who are like the awarding people who are like who made an impact to with their students and the community as a whole, to the students as well as directors and everything. And you got the you got the President's Award.
Yes.
You got the President's Award for being the top coordinators during the 23-24 term, like in Fanshawe Student Union, and congratulations for you for that. I forgot to like mention that in the first, and and sorry,
No worries.
And congratulations for you for that, and thank you so much for coming to this podcast. And like, I wanted you to come to this podcast because as I said before, you like give out a positive energy, and I feel that people who are seeing this can also have the positive energy from you as well. And thank you again for coming so much. Before concluding, I want to give you something. I want to give you a chocolate.
Oh, Alan, I cannot believe you. Thank you so much.
No,
really.
Thank you for coming.
I appreciate the invitation. And again, I also want to thank you first for all the work that you've been doing. I've been seeing your videos. They are amazing. You've been doing a great job. And it's good when you have people to chat about their experiences, right? As you said, sometimes you don't realize how you can impact people's lives until people tell you, or even you can share your experiences with them, right? And you as a class rep, I've been so proud, right? So I know that I'm ending my tenure, but I also appreciate you as a class rep. When I remember you when you first began, and when I see you right now, like, your
difference.
journey,
Yeah.
right? It's like you grow so much,
Yeah.
you've evolved as a person, as a student, and I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud. So I really appreciate everything that you've been doing this whole year with me too.
Thank you so much again, and thank you for coming to this podcast. I hope you had a good time.
I had.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I hope you guys learned something new from this podcast, and see you guys in another video. Bye.
Bye. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Oh, can I give you a hug?
We went to buy the juice, right? And the bottle was like this, like 500 ml.
And it costs
Yeah, it cost around like $5, and I started converting it to Japanese rupees, and that was the first time I was using my US dollar. That was US dollar, not even 500. It will be like around 600 in Nepal. So yeah, that kind of thing happens. And during first 2 months, we used to convert a lot.